This week, we see each army dig in, desperately trying to outmaneuver each other before the deadlock of winter truly sets in. To accomplish these quick, piercing strikes, both presidents will ensure that their officer corps is up to the task, replacing those who aren't. We see the president move into a more relaxing scene as he takes well-deserved time off. I know that last part doesn't sound interesting, but I assure you, it is. First thing this week is the conclusion of the Battle of Brownsville that was fought last week. General Nathaniel P. Banks occupies the town, or more accurately, its remains. In the village, stored are numerous cotton bales, each that goes for a pretty penny. The cotton line can no longer pass through Brownsville, instead being forced to trek 300 miles north. With no casualties to either side, this victory is still a crippling blow to the CSA's economy. You can even still call it that. Next, in a daring raid, the rebel cavalry of General William E. Jones surprises Colonel Israel Garand, captures his brigade, causing 655 total Union losses for a demoralizing defeat. This happened in Rogersville, Tennessee, and is under General Burnside's watch, which is suitable for General Longstreet, who's facing an uphill battle and needs even these tiny victories to have any hopes of winning. For another battle, let us move to the newest state in the Union, West Virginia. The cavalry of General Averell is on a mission to destroy the rebel force in the state. To this end, Averell sends a portion of his strength under General Dufay to destroy rebel supplies, as he takes 5,000 of his men and tries to encircle the rebel garrison at Lewisburg, the final rebel fortification worth anything in West Virginia. Rebel General Eccles counters this by moving 1,700 men to Droop Mountain to intercept and hold back the men of Averell. I'll let the battlefield trust do the rest of my work. Skirmishing occurred early that morning, followed by artillery opening up around 11 a.m. Union artillery was mostly ineffective, as shots were unable to reach the Confederate guns, were able to inflict significant damage. 6 hours of close, hand-to-hand combat along different points in the Confederate lines ensued. Finally, a dismounted cavalry charge on Eccles' left flank at a spot dubbed the Bloody Angle broke the Confederate line. The retreat became a rout. Union horsemen chased the fleeing Confederates to Lewisburg when they called off the pursuit. However, many prisoners and large amounts of arms and ammunition were captured. This battle was a loss for the rebels, Eccles losing 275 men to Averell's 119 casualties. But his actions saves Lewisburg. So overall, it's a strategic victory for the rebels, a term I hate using. So rarely do these small battles define a campaign, but I'll give the Confederacy this one. The 7th, we see a burst of action in a forgotten theater of the war, the Virginian one. How about some real action? The President has pressed Major General George G. Meade to start up his section of the war with a significant drive to either destroy Lee or take Richmond. Meade finally listens to the Commander-in-Chief. He drives a plan for a two-pronged attack. General John Sedgwick would move on to Rappahannock Station itself, while General French would move 5 miles down and assault Kelly's Ford. Lee counters this. Major General Robert Rose marches to stop French, and Major General Jubal-Early moves to stop Sedgwick. At 1500 hours, Sedgwick makes his first move, sending a division under General Albion P. Howe to take the opponent's fortifications in a quick strike. Howe is successful and soon takes the hillside. General Henry T. Hayes and his rebels are behind their earthworks immediately opposite the new Union position, supported by only a mere battery, which under constant bombardment from the hill was unable to return fire. Rebels are later reinforced by Colonel Goodwich's brigade of North Carolinians. The shelling continues throughout the day as Lee turns to what he believes to be the main action, French's assault. But as day becomes night, the shelling stops. Colonel Peter Ellmaker takes his Federal brigade and charges the rebel redoubt. The 6th Maine alone reaches the fortification, duels with the Confederates, and then alone going with a bayonet. Against all odds, they are successful. The 5th Wisconsin does the same thing to the Western redoubt. I can't overstate how impressive this is. As the National Park Service called it, no Union regiment gained more laurels that day nor suffered higher casualties. With the American flag flying high, Colonel Emory Upton joins the two regiments in glory, the 121st New York overrunning another Confederate fort as the rest of the brigade charges in the mob that the 5th Wisconsin and 6th Maine created. This is the end of the rebels. Some try to swim across the Rappahannock, but most surrender. Out of the 2,000 men of Early, 1,670 ended up as casualties. At least 1,600 of those surrendered. The men of French are also victorious. mainly because Lee cancelled the planned assault on them. Lee suffered 419 and engaged about 2,000 men also. I don't know much about it, but it seems to be that our army was surprised. No matter the cause of the defeat, old Robert has the more immediate problem to deal with. He's about to be pinned against the Rapidan River, and his army is close to destruction. He immediately orders a withdrawal. On the 8th, Lieutenant General D.H. Hill's corps gets placed under General John C. Breckinridge. The change of command is part of Bragg's consolidation of power, a point I have been beating into the ground. So I'll just give my estimation of the two commanders. Hill I believe to be the better general, to Breckinridge, but not by very much. This change will hurt the Army of Tennessee, but it has suffered far more great wounds than this one, so much for it to even be noticed. I usually only cover the big things, but just this once, and again, if the narrative calls for it, I'll cover something mundane, a play. On the 9th, President Abraham Lincoln, who loves the theater, is always a calming presence, so he finds it fit to venture to Ford's Theater to watch a performance of The Marble Heart. He is blown away by the acting of one John Wilkes Booth, whom he invites to the White House to meet in person, but sadly the schedules of both men don't line up. But then Booth speaks to his friends. I would rather have the applause of a Negro to that of the president. Oh, he's one of those people. Maybe the relationship should stay in the theater where Booth can do no harm. On the 11th, General Benjamin "the Beast" Butler takes command of the Department of Virginia and North Carolina, a position he used to hold, replacing General John Foster, a man he used to lead. This change is weird because it doesn't seem like anyone did anything wrong or right. Butler hasn't been winning victories or loved by the Northern press, nor has Foster failed or angered anyone. I believe this change will result in very little happening, but who knows? Maybe Butler is the man we need. But there's no way that's right. Then, for the final day of this week, when it's becoming a running theme, we look to Fort Sumter, where this war started, for the start of a major bombardment. Look, I want Sumter to fall. It would be the opening of Charleston to Union invasion, and more importantly, the symbolic destruction of secession. I don't think it will happen. Now for the final thing of this week. Grant is waiting for Sherman to arrive at Chattanooga, or more accurately, waiting for Godot. Grant doesn't trust the Army of the Cumberland's morale, for they just lost under Rosecrans, nor Hooker's detachment, which has never won a battle. But Sherman's detachment is coming off the victory at Vicksburg, which, yes, I understand morale is essential. Still, I fear that by waiting this long, he has given the rebels more time to consolidate. But given the fact that, with that time, they sent Longstreet away, maybe there is reason to hope they'll shoot themselves in the foot again. General Sherman and the 15th Corps are only 2 days away. Then there's Sickles. What is he, He's enjoying himself? Yeah, that's about it. That's where the week ends. I believe the appropriate action to focus on is the battle at Rappahannock Station. In the dark, a Union detachment of equal size was able to destroy a rebel force behind defenses, which is novel, and Meade has won a remarkable... That's where the week ends. I believe the appropriate action to focus on is the battle at Rappahannock Station. In the dark, a Union detachment of equal size was able to destroy a rebel force behind defenses, which is novel, and Meade has won a remarkable victory. Lee has reason to worry, though. Beyond the immediate effects of the battle, his army has taken blow after blow in their engagements against Meade, and they must be asking themselves, how much more will they be asked to take? Maybe the knockout blow will come next week. Hello, it's the entire Civil Week by Week team here. And I would like to thank Veritas et Caritas, a good friend of the channel, for donating a new camera, which, in fact, does follow me around wherever I may go. Once again, man, thank you. And I hope that everyone who watches this channel will check him out. He's a good man and a good YouTuber. And I hope to see you all next week.